Hello and welcome back to Adventures of WellUmMe, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favourite, newer franchise games that I wish I even liked a little bit more. That's hard to explain. This is Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. I loved the collaboration between... I love the collaboration between Studio Ghibli and Level 5 to create Ni no Kuni. I thought that was amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was a gorgeous game. I loved the cutscenes and the artwork. I loved all that. I got the collector's edition when it came out. At the time, I had really, not just gotten into Studio Ghibli, but I was at the peak of my interest. I was starting to buy all the Blu-rays that were being released, getting them imported from the UK because they had a DVD and Blu-ray in the same copy, and in Australia you just got the Blu-ray or you just got the DVD, and it was cheaper for some reason, so I was importing them all. Loved it. Got some of my favourite movies from there. I've read books that they've been based on, loved Howl's Moving Castle. So what did I do? I go and get the books. Love the books. It was one of those things that I couldn't help myself. I loved that franchise. And Ni no Kuni, when it came out, I'm like, I have to get this. Loved it. Loved the voice acting. Loved the story. Loved the gameplay. I loved the familiar system. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Took me forever to beat it. I got stuck on the final boss. Finally did beat it. It was just one of those things. I loved that game. I loved that story, and just the sense of childhood joy when it came to experiencing something of entertainment purpose. I loved it. As soon as this game was announced, as soon as number 2 was announced, I ordered the collector's edition. I've got the record here, I've got the box that it came it up here, I've got the box with the music thing. There was a little music box thing, like a statuette thing that had the main thing playing in it. I've got the boxes there because I just loved it so much I didn't want to throw them out. I've got Mr. Drippy somewhere as well. I think he's in the study from the first one. I loved all this stuff. I've got a little minifigure from this on the shelf up there. Here's another box. 4 boxes of just Ni no Kuni just sitting up here, and the record and all that. I loved it. I've got the steelbook with the Blu-ray, the game. This case has no disc in it because it's in my steelbook, but I've got the postcards, DLC season pass. I loved it so much that I had to go and get the most expensive copy ever. I had to get the most expensive one. I had to get the collector's one because that's what I loved. And the story of this is alright. It's a bit of a strange story. I still enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. And all the reviews that I saw online were like, this one is such a better game, this one's such a better game. It didn't have Studio Ghibli behind it. It had some of the people that worked there doing concept and stuff. But it didn't have that same tie in with Studio Ghibli. And I think, one, I felt a little bit disappointed that it wasn't tied into it. And 2, I wish there was more animation and cartoon aspect and the anime style approach or movie style approach to the game that the first one had. I felt that was just a little bit less of an impact with the art style. It was still amazing, still great, but I think it was missing just a little bit. The music's still by Joe Hisashi. That's great. I'm glad that they've still got that there, but it was just lacking a little bit in the animation for me. I wanted a little bit more. Fair enough that they had to remove that tie in with them, but I loved it. I loved it and I wanted more. It's still a great game though. Still a great game. I can move on from that it wasn't directly linked with Studio Ghibli. And then the other thing is, I didn't like the change in the gameplay. I know a lot of people complained about the gameplay of the first game, that the familiar thing was stupid, and that this one was better for action RPG. But I liked the familiars. That was like one of my favourite things about that game, getting the familiars and like growing them and evolving them, and I loved that. But they took it out for this game. So when they announced that there was a remaster of the first one, I went and got that. I've got that on the PS4. Love it. High definition. Perfect. Perfect. But there's still this one. It's still great. I've seen the price of this go right down though. The price of this has gone right down from when it came out. And I think that's a little bit sad because it was such a good game. I think the game is kind of designed that you don't have to play the first one because it fills you in on a little bit of the story, and it's set so long after that it doesn't matter. But then there's all these references to things that happened in the first game with the characters from the first game that you would have no idea about unless you had played the first game. So it lacks that little bit in terms of they tried to make it great for newcomers, because I think that they were trying to sell it to newcomers and not necessarily the fans of the first game. I think they were hoping the hype from it, from the first, like the game, people that loved the first game was going to come through and bring in newcomers as well, and that's how they'd make their sales. I don't know, it just felt a little bit like that. Still love this game, but I think the first game is better. I know that there's a movie that's come out. I'm going to watch that. Hopefully that's good. I don't know if it's made by Ghibli or not, but we'll see. It's on Netflix. I'll check that out later. But, yeah. It is a great game. It is a great game. I guess it is easier to play than the first one, but I just felt there's more heart and soul in the first game. My recommendation for you would be, if you want more action RPG, get this one. If you want more traditional JRPG type things, go for the first one. Get the remaster. It is amazing. We'll talk about the remaster another day. This is just this one. But things that I do like is, I like that you have to build your own kingdom. Like, you had your kingdom overrun, you then have to go and build your own kingdom. I love that aspect to it. I think that it definitely made the game interesting. It had missions tied to kingdom building, so you would go and do this mission to get some resource to build your kingdom out. That was great. I love that as well. I think that was one of the things that was enjoyable about it. I liked that you would go to these different places and the towns were very different, and it wasn't just like a direct carbon copy of the original game and the towns were all the same. There was different towns, there was different music matching the towns. I love that. It was done well, and I think it was great that they didn't just go carbon copy of the first game and the towns were all identical and the music was identical and the animation was like very similar and identical. I think that they've done well with that. I like that you have these little dungeons that you go into, and it's like a challenge, ridiculously hard bosses at the end, things like that. I love that. I do love that. And I think out of all of it, it is very user-friendly compared to the first one because it's set up with a lot easier combat. The missions are quite easy to do for the most part. Occasionally there's like an item that I've struggled to find, but it's been enjoyable. There are a lot of missions, there's a lot of hours in it, and there's DLC for it, which I haven't actually played. I might install this later on and play it, but that will be after I finish Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So this one does have a lot of content in it. It is a great game, and I do recommend it. My heart just still lies with the first one. There's something about the first one that really captured my interest and my love for like anime and Japanese culture. and their animation techniques and their storytelling techniques. I think that was just so much better in the first one, but this one is still a great game. So, I don't know, very conflicting throughout the whole thing how I've mentioned that, but definitely pick this one up, especially if you find it cheap. I found this for $20 for the standard edition. If you can find it, get it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, consider subscribing. This has been a Game A Day series. I hope you're enjoying it. Trying to keep it different here on Adventures of Well Me. So, yeah. Have a great one, guys, and I'll catch you next time.